Thank you, and welcome. My name is Tanya Moulding. I'm an aromatherapist and massage therapist, and today we're going to be talking about making your own aromatic body care. So our skin is our largest excretory organ. It possesses its own microbiome and works very hard 24/7 to protect us, to store fats and lipids. It helps prevent moisture loss and helps to reduce the harmful effects of UV radiation. Also, most importantly, it acts as a sensory organ. So it's sensitive to touch, pressure, vibration, temperature, etc. I think it's really lovely and beneficial in an increasingly digital age to take some time out and make use of your own skincare. That if you make it yourself, it creates a beautiful sensory feast for the senses, encouraging us to stop, focus, and be immersed in the moment. So we're going to be looking at, during the presentation, some very simple, accessible ingredients that you can purchase in a shop or online that you can make your own plant-based aromatic products with. And these will all help to cleanse, soothe, nourish, and protect not only your physical body, but also your mind, body, and spirit. And along the way, hopefully we can elevate our skincare routine into something sacred and mindful. So I love to create very simple products at home, and I also teach introductory workshops about how to make things that are very simple and accessible, and using a variety of ingredients which you can easily find from your store cupboard. So, the most beautiful thing about this is that you can adapt your ingredients to suit the seasons, to suit your skin type, and for your therapeutic and cosmetic intent. So I hope you'll be inspired to create a beautiful apothecary of aromatic products for you today, which can help transform everyday grooming activities into something sublime and sacred. So we'll be going through 5 products today, which I'll be guiding you through. I shall also include a little ritual that you can consider when you're using the products also. So we're going to look at making a body scrub to exfoliate physically and energetically the body. I'll share some tips on creating a beauty mask for the body and face. And I'll also be sharing a bath soak using salts and other botanicals, and a body oil and a facial oil. And I'll share tips on how you can adjust these and use them in different ways also. So let's look at our ingredients. Firstly, we're going to be looking at abrasive botanicals. So abrasives are usually included in masks and exfoliating products. So you have items like sugar, salt, nuts, seeds, legumes. When they're ground down, they can all be included into scrubs and or bath products. And there's other ingredients which are not necessarily abrasive, but they are usually quite fine powdered, or they're fine grains which are powdered down, such as coffee grounds or milled oats. You also have dried and powdered ingredients such as spices, herbs, flowers, milk powders can also be used in the ingredients to include in your products that we're going to look at today. And also clays, which are hugely nutritious and beautiful for the skin and are used in mud masks and for cleansing and refining. So we're going to be looking at a few of those today as well. Next, we have our other ingredients, which are very essential. These will enhance the aromatic properties of the products that you create, and these are our essential oils. So we're going to look at our essential oils. These are concentrated aromatic compounds found in many plants, and they are essential to our aromatherapy practice. You'll find that most oils that we're using are extracted from different plant parts, such as roots, leaves, grass, bark, fruits, and flowers, and they all possess unique characteristics. The essential oils that we're looking at today are volatile, evaporating at different rates when exposed to the air. They have very different complex chemical profiles and constituents. Nearly all of the essential oils we're using today are antiseptic. They have many uses and applications to support our emotional and physical well-being. And today we're going to be mainly using them in body application and to soak with, rather than diffusing or using as a spot application. They are flammable and sensitive to heat and light. They are very fragrant, obviously, and they vary in color and viscosity. But they are not oily to touch. They dilute easily in oils, butters, waxes, fats, and alcohol, but they do not dilute in water. So we always have to dilute our essential oils for safety. The essentials we'll be looking at today will be a very small snapshot of a few that you could use. I particularly like these ones because they are very easy to purchase. They have a very long history of use and they're very easy to look up. So if you want to find more information about essential oils and how to use them safely and how to include them in your day-to-day living, you can always reference them online or through a good resource book. I have a few books listed at the end. But in this presentation, we're going to be looking at rosemary, which is beautiful green, aromatic, herbaceous, very stimulating, excellent for aches and pains and mental concentration. Do be careful of using rosemary in pregnancy and if you experience epilepsy or high blood pressure. But we are going to be using very small doses of essential oils. So generally, they are safe for the application we're going to be using on today. But if you have any health concerns or any health conditions, please do speak to your health care professional or a GP. We also have lavender, very common and very popular plant and very popular essential oil, a panacea for anything. It's fresh, aromatic floral, very balancing and harmonizing, and is a gentle sedative and excellent for stress-related conditions. We are then looking at peppermint, which is a beautiful, cool, piercing, minty green aroma, very mind-clearing and energizing, useful for fatigue, aches and pains. We're also including orange, very happy, sweet, juicy, bright citrus, very clarifying to the skin, ideal for inclusion in many of the products we're going to be looking at today. And to balance with that and to marry with that is a grapefruit, another citrus, very tangy, zesty, refreshing, uplifting, optimistic, astringent, and really excellent for congested skin. We then move on to our beautiful florals. These are a little bit more expensive, but if you can afford to include one of these, then I would definitely suggest treating yourself. Rose is particularly expensive, but you can buy a pre-diluted rose oil. But it's the queen of the flowers, has a very complex aroma, very honey, tea-like, floral, musky, beautifully antidepressant, emotionally supportive, and hydrating and soothing for skin. So it's a beautiful addition for a more luxurious feel, a luxury pampering kind of aroma. So ideal for inclusion in like a body oil or a facial oil. We have ylang ylang, which I like to use as an alternative to jasmine. Jasmine can be quite expensive. So if you are looking at your budget, then ylang is an amazing, exotic, sweet, creamy floral, very emotionally soothing, very sensual, calms anxiety, irritability, and is a wonder skin oil as well. It's very useful to use for balancing the skin and for any stress-related issues. So with geranium, very floral, sweet, beautiful oil for the skin, for the mind, brilliant for stress-related conditions, especially with its very complex aroma, very balancing, restorative, and suitable for most skin types. So ideal for mature, stressed, or congested skins. Very emotionally regulating and excellent for stress-related conditions, as I mentioned. As a note for all of these oils, it is advised not to use essential oils in the first 3 months of pregnancy. Next, when we go on to our lovely spices, we have one spice I've included today, coriander. I find coriander is it's a lot more gentle to use than, say, clove or cinnamon, and it's much more complex than I find ginger to be. And it's sweet, warm with a spicy, woody note, and it's amazing for confidence and invigorating the mind, relieving aches and pains, and excellent fatigue or mental exhaustion. It's very intriguing mixed with florals. It gives a very sophisticated note, so it is a beautiful one to use in your blending. We then move on to our lovely woody grounding notes. So I've included 4 woody notes that are are variable in price, and you can interchange them. So be guided by what you like. But the cedarwood is very soft and warm, very grounding and stabilizing, very helpful for respiratory systems. So a lovely one to use in baths if you need to breathe in and calm yourself and to create a relaxing environment. Particularly good for inflamed skin, irritation, very helpful for regulating sebum in the skin. So excellent for all skin types. I love it as a scalp oil. It's really useful. Sandalwood is a beautiful precious oil, so do use this mindfully. I purchased the Austro-Caledonian one. I find the Santal album one from India is restricted. So if you can find an ethically sourced one, that's fabulous. If not, go for the Australian one. It's very rich, smooth, has a musky, sweet, woody aroma, and is highly prized for its spiritual applications. It's beautifully grounding and excellent in terms of stress, or if you're experiencing low self-esteem, and is beautiful for the skin, especially dry or chapped skins. The last two we have are frankincense, which is a renowned skin oil. It's beautiful for the connection of mind and body. So using these essential oils to connect mind, body, and spirit are really helpful in skincare. So you never treat one without the other. We are a mirror of our emotions in many ways. So using essential oils that tap into that emotional support is really important. So the frankincense has beautiful hints of spice and citrus, and a little bit of pine, slows the breath, stills the mind, and is excellent for stress-related conditions and very nourishing for dry, sensitive, and mature skins. And last but not least, we have the beautiful patchouli, which is a personal favorite of mine. I do love its earthy, woody note, and it's very good for connecting the mind, slowing down, excellent for meditation or meditative work. Very grounding as well, and excellent for dry, cracked skin. So really useful for autumn, winter months, or if you have very dry, contracted weather patterns or weather environments. It's really useful for helping to regulate. So those are the oils we're going to be including today. And we also are going to be looking at some carrier oils. So I'm looking at all the ingredients first, and then we're going to go into the recipes. So carrier oils or fixed plant oils, otherwise known as vegetable oils, are commonly used in aromatherapy and skincare. And they're important because we need to dilute our essential oils safely to be applied to the skin. So many of you may know that these fatty vegetable oils are extracted from nuts and seeds, commonly sweet almond, apricot kernel, coconut, etc. They are usually characterized by a kind of a denser texture, and they're quite filmic, so they do leave a lovely film on the skin. They're very nourishing and moisturizing, very protecting. They may have a slight odor, so like a nutty vegetal odor, and that is more apparent if you buy unrefined and organic carrier oils. But they each have a beautifully unique profile. There are many, many to choose from. I've only chosen a few today to share with you. And again, I've chosen a few that are my personal favorites. But they vary in texture, and they across the board contain a very wide range of essential vitamins and fatty acids. And they're primarily used to nourish, regenerate, and protect the skin. You can also obviously eat them in your diet, so that's very important too for great skincare, is firstly get things through your diet, but these beautiful carrier oils are an amazing addition to nourishing your skin, elevating your skincare to something a bit more luxurious and mindful. So we're going to be looking at a few coming up in a moment. So they can be used to cleanse and soothe. As I mentioned, they're rich in essential fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals. As our skin ages, our fatty acid profile can decline. So these oils do help to protect our skin, and they prevent more moisture loss, and particularly useful for adapting moisturizing oils during the year when our skin may vary depending on the seasons. They're very useful in aiding massage. So thereby indirectly improving our lymphatic system and our local circulation. And of course, they're beautiful to apply, so that sensory stimulation and enjoyment is really important. We have looked at our essential oils and at some of what carrier oils are, and we're looking at dilutions as well. So as I mentioned before, it's very important that you dilute your essential oils into a carrier oil or butter or wax. And general rule of thumb is perhaps 1 drop of essential oil to 5 mils or 5 grams of product. I've got a table here which shows you a safe dilution. So you can go up to 2 drops per 5 mil. And this is generally safe for skin application and for bath. Do be advised if you're using different essential oils after this presentation, if you go away and look at other ingredients you wish to use, always check the essential oil you're using. Do check the Latin name, do check a good reference book, and ensure when you first start in blending, you're using a 1 to 2% dilution. So use this as a safe guide. Do keep your products stored in a cool, dry and dark place and used up within the time recommended. I'll be giving a use by time on each product. And when you're purchasing essential oils, do keep them out of direct sunlight and heat as well. And always be aware of your own sensitivities and any of your own health contraindications. So always double check the safety of and health contraindication of each oil that you're going to be using at home. And there's some really good books. There's lots of good reference books available. There's lots of good reference sources online too. So please do check all your ingredients if you're buying ones that you're not familiar with. So the art of exfoliation. Exfoliation is the art of removing dead skin cells from the body, either using a physical body brush, mitt or flannel, or a scrub made of abrasive natural ingredients. So we earlier mentioned a few of the abrasive materials, some of the ingredients we might use, which are sugar and salt, but also ground nuts or pumice. So most scrubs can be a combination of sugar and salt. Some of the more sophisticated blends available on the market do include nuts or pumice and other ingredients which are added for cosmetic or therapeutic interests, such as powdered herbs, powdered flowers, spices, citrus rinds, and many body scrubs can include clays as well to improve the texture and to give a different sensation on the skin. And of course, we can add our beautiful fragrant essential oils. These can definitely help with the cleansing action of a scrub, but primarily we add them for their fragrance and their psychotherapeutic effect, so their effect on our mind and emotions. The benefits of exfoliation, they are a physical cleanser, so they can lift off and remove dead skin cells. I also think an exfoliator is almost like a psychic cleanser as well. So you're energetically cleansing your auric field. So if you've had a bad day at the office or bad day commuting and you can get home, you can have a shower or a bath, but by physically scrubbing off, you're kind of almost scrubbing off the day as well. And you get the benefit of beautifully clarified skin. It does boost local circulation, can improve your skin clarity and texture. And of course, by taking off that dead layer of skin, you allow improved absorption from any of the other products that you then add to your skin. So it's a win-win. And the benefit of having salt, most scrubs, as I mentioned, generally are primarily including salt. It has a slightly more drawing effect on the skin and a slightly more cleansing action. And you can mix the different salts together, such as sea salt, Himalayan salt, or Epsom salt, or you can use them on their own, just mixed in with the fatty plant oil. Sugar is a very popular choice. It's very affordable. So if you have too much sugar left at home from baking, you can definitely include whatever's left as a scrub. It does have a slightly smaller grain. So for some people with sensitive skin, it could feel better on the skin. It's a much finer scrub. And also it doesn't sting. If you've got any cuts or shaving cuts, salt can sting the skin, but it's only temporarily. So sugar can be a useful addition to your scrub. And most scrubs the ones I've personally found in shops, tend to be mixed in with coconut oil, fractionated coconut oil, which is coconut butter, and it has the fatty molecule taken out, which helps it harden. So this is a permanently liquid form of coconut. It's very stable, it's clear, it's unscented, it absorbs aromas very well. So when you add essential oils, you get a really lovely aroma, because it does help to blend the essential oils well into the scrub. It's also very affordable. So if you're looking at something to be making in large amounts, it's very economical to use. And it provides an economical base for your scrub. It also has a lovely slip, so it's really good for all skin types. So it's got a good shelf life, so it's a lovely one to use. However, you can use any of the other oils and blend it with the coconut oil if you wish. So we're looking at our lovely body scrub recipe. So this will make about 200 grams of scrub. You can make more and adjust the essential oil drops accordingly. I normally blend about 120 grams of salt. I like to use fine sea salt and a mixture of Epsom salt, and stir that in together. And then I add 80 ml of carrier oil. So you'd add the salt first and gradually add the oil, stir it in. You might need to adjust it. So if you want to add a little less salt or a little bit more oil, be guided by what kind of texture you like. But you're trying to achieve the texture of wet sand. So you need enough oil so that it can stir and you can scoop it out, but not so much oil that it's too oily and the salt or sugar is lost. So you need the texture of like wet sand, or like a very granular texture. So once you've mixed the sugar, salt, and all together, we're going to add the essential oil drops. I've chosen an energizing blend. That's personal choice, but I do find scrubs are kind of energizing and cleansing. So it's lovely to add an aroma that really invigorates your mind and makes you feel tingly and is very uplifting to use. So we're going to add 25 drops of grapefruit. Latin name is next to it, which is Citrus paradisi, and 10 drops of the rosemary, Rosmarinus officinalis, 5 drops of the peppermint, Mentha piperata, and you combine them all together, seal the lid. That should last about, I would advise using that up within 6 months. Citrus oils once opened, tend to have a shelf life of 6 to 8 months. I personally use any citrus oils that I've opened, I use them up within 6 months. So if you are adding them to a blend, rosemary has antioxidant properties that may extend the shelf life a bit longer, but for safety's sake, I would advise you use up the scrub within 6 months. Use once or twice a week. Apply to dry skin. It's very important to apply to dry skin and gently apply circular motion over the part of the body that you're applying it to. It's a beautiful addition to make part of your stress reduction plan. I would advise, if you're making a scrub purely from salt, is that if you can leave the scrub on for 5 minutes, and as you apply it with gentle circular actions, imagine all the old thoughts and energies being absorbed into the salt mix. Leave it on for a few more minutes. And then as you cleanse the salt off, visualize these unwanted energies and thoughts being removed and rinsed away. And so you have a new thought process and lovely, fresh, new skin with which to add your other products. So that's our body scrub, and a little ritual to go with it. It's lovely to visualize something as you're applying these products to your skin. So the scrub can be used on its own once or twice a week. The beauty masks can be clay-based, or they can be made purely of fruit and veg with liquids. And a beauty mask could be applied to the body after your scrub as well. If you want to give yourself a full spa-like treatment afternoon, you can layer all these products one after the other. So it's you'll have the most beautiful skin every season. So as the seasons change, you can adapt these ingredients to suit your skin type. So most natural based masks can be applied to the face as a weekly beauty ritual. I'd say no more than twice a week, used in a beauty mask. The whole point of a mask is to gently exfoliate the face, to brighten and clarify the skin. And also it can be applied to the body to exfoliate a little bit further, and also to refine the skin and to provide some nourishment. These masks you can also apply to the scalp. You need to get it right into the skin and not too much on the hair, but they can be really helpful deep cleansing treatments for scalp problems, scalp issues. But masks can be classified as wet or dry. Wet masks tend to be made from fresh products, so fresh dairy like yogurt, cream, single cream or double cream, with added fruits, so berries like mashed up raspberries, strawberries, vegetables, so crushed tomatoes, pureed cucumbers. And the principal aspect of these masks is that when you apply them to your skin, they do not dry out, so they stay damp on your skin. And they tend to be a little bit more hydrating and nourishing, but also they can be more refining and clarifying, especially if you're adding berries or any citrus, which are definitely has a more activating action on the skin. If you're adding things like honey, cream, yogurt, avocados, they're much more hydrating and nourishing, so probably better for slightly drier skin types or dehydrated skin types. The dry masks tend to have a clay base, or you've mixed clay with other powdered botanicals like herbs or cacao powder. And clays have a very deep acting property to them in that they draw out impurities. So they can dry out on the skin. So if your skin is quite dry, it might be better to add a more nourishing ingredient to your clay mask. But clay masks are fantastically cleansing, very useful for stimulating microcirculation in the face. And they can be, they're usually formed as a mud, so liquid is added and they can be applied to the skin on their own. But they can be mixed with wet ingredients too. So we're going to look at how to make a stock blend, so a clay-based mask that you can then adapt for your own personal needs. The clays I'm going to be discussing today, you may already be familiar with many of them. They come in various colors and various textures. The clays I like to use are from different parts of the world, but there's many that come from France, and they're called Argilette's clays. That isn't in the notes, but it's Argilette's clays, and they range in texture from being very fine, like the kaolin, which is white clay, to a much denser, grittier texture, such as the rasoul, which is a Moroccan clay. You can use one clay on its own, or what I would recommend is combining 2 to 3 clays, and you get a much more complex and more personalized recipe. They all possess cleansing and drawing properties when mixed with a liquid, and the liquid can be a cooled tea, so like a chamomile tea or a mint tea or jasmine, a hydrosol or floral water like rose water, orange blossom water, or more commonly water. So you will take the clay, add your liquid, and you will form a paste or a thin mud, which will dry out on the skin. So the clays tend to be more absorbent depending on their color. So for example, green clay is very absorbent, so it's excellent for congested, oily skins, whereas kaolin, the white clay, is very fine, gentle for all skin types, and helps to modify the actions of other clays. So you can, as I mentioned before, you can either create the mud on its own with its clays, and you can also add other ingredients. So once you've made the mud, you could add avocado for a more hydrating, smoothing, luxurious blend, or you could add yogurt or cream, or aloe gel. You could also add in some herbs as well, some powdered herbs, to create a very tailored blend for yourself. When you've made the clay, always store it in a cool, dry environment, preferably in glass. Clays tend to react with metal. So when you're stirring your clay or you're decanting your clay, always use a wooden or ceramic or glass utensil. As you can see in my little picture, there's a little wooden spoon. So anything like bamboo. So these are the clays what I'm going to be mentioning in the recipes, but they're suitable for all skin types. We have white clay, which I mentioned is the finest, very, very fine textured, very silky, very gentle acting, and it dries to a very thin paste. So it's lovely if you're a bit sensitive or a bit hesitant about clays. And you don't need to apply clay to the whole face. You can apply it just to a T-zone or, like a spot treatment. And white clay is very fine, so a little goes a long way. And it can be added to any of the other clays if you wish. We have pink clay, which is a combination of red and white, and it's suitable for most skin types, especially dry and dehydrated. It's rich in magnesium and selenium, and again, it creates a lovely soothing texture on the skin. So if your skin gets quite hot as well, like you get a lot of redness, the pink clay is very useful. Red clay, it's called red clay. It looks more like a brick color, rich in iron oxide, mildly absorbent, very good if you're prone to broken capillaries, and again, for sensitive skin types, it's a lovely one to use. It has a slightly grittier texture. Rasool is one of my favorites. It's useful. It's like the equivalent of lavender. It's like the clay equivalent of lavender. It's an amazing clay which has many benefits, can be used all over the body on its own. It mixes well with lots of other ingredients, particularly cream and fat, so you can make a very rich, hydrating, softening clay for the face and body. Suited very well for mature dry skin. It's also very cleansing, so it's great as a wash. It leaves the skin very bright and soft. It's very absorbing, but it's not as drying as the green clay. An excellent cleansing effect. So it's like a beigey brown color. I mentioned the green clay, very strong absorptive powers of this clay. It might be too harsh if your skin is combination too dry. It's probably good for like spot masks, so T-zone, but excellent if you have very oily, congested skin. And again, you can blend it with the white clay or the Rasool to temper its strong effect. So very good for normalizing secretions of oil or sweat. I've added cocoa powder, which isn't a clay, of course, but it's a lovely powdered botanical, an ingredient that you can add to your clays. It's very good, especially if you wanted to create a clay base that you could also use on the body. Cocoa powder is excellent for improving skin brightness, soothing redness, and is very good for stimulating blood circulation. So it's great as a leg, like a leg and lower body mask, if you want to spend time doing that. So our mask recipe, it's very simple. I like to make a 50-gram jar, and you can blend 2 clays together, 2 or 3. I've given a recipe today for 3 clays because I think this is a very universal blend. It will suit most people's skin types. If you do have slightly oilier skin, you can swap out the red clay for the green. And this clay you can also use for the body as well. So again, you can do a whole body mask, or just do, a leg or foot or hand mask. You'll really notice the difference. It definitely brightens and clarifies the skin. So I've gone for 20 gram of the white clay, 20 gram of the Rasool, and 10 gram of the red clay. So you scoop them out with a wooden spoon or glass or ceramic into your jar, stir them around, and that's your pot to store, so that you can draw from. So when you do want to make your mask, you take a heaped teaspoon into a little dish, add your water phase. Again, it could be cooled water, flower water, or cooled tea, and let the water absorb first, because the clays absorb water at different times. So the white absorbs very, very quickly. The Rasool is a bit slower. So as you're adding the water, let it absorb, then give it a stir. It should be a nice kind of a mud texture. And at that point, you can apply that to your skin and apply a very even layer around the face, neck. I always include the neck and the upper chest if there's enough clay, avoiding the eyes and avoiding too much around the mouth. And you can leave that on for 5 minutes. When it's that mud phase, you can add 1 drop of essential oil just for the fragrance really. Frankincense is beautiful to use, or ylang or geranium. I tend to choose one essential oil to add, just one drop. There isn't really any need to add too much essential oil to your mask blend. And then you leave it on for up to 5 minutes, making sure it doesn't dry out too much. And then remove it with a warm cloth, or muslin cloth or flannel. Ensure to remove, really sweeping out. Avoid rubbing or pulling the skin too much. If you're wanting to make a more of a treatment mask that is a bit more nourishing, then once you've made the paste of the clays and you've added 1 drop of your essential oil, you could add half a teaspoon of honey, or a quarter of mashed up banana, or avocado, and create a more textured mask. And that is really, and that won't dry out on the skin, so you can leave it for up to 10 minutes. And that's particularly useful if your skin is more dry and sensitive, or is dehydrated. So it's a really much more nourishing mask depending on the ingredients you add. And again, I've added like a little ritual. Even if you only do the mask once a week, it's lovely to create a mindful moment. So you set aside 15 minutes, and as you apply your mask, it could be, before you, like the end of the week, like on a Sunday before you go back to work. When you apply the mask, you can think about all the thoughts you've had through your head that day, or think about anything that you want to overcome or to release. So when you're allowing the mask to dry, you can imagine the potential of starting afresh and to renew your skin. And as you rinse it off, you have a new face to show the world, and also a new day. So it's a really lovely metaphor when you're applying the mask, to know the next cycle is a new one. There's always another day, and there's always new skin to be reborn and face the world differently. Next up, we have our bath soak. I find a bath is a huge luxury. It takes a while to create your bath, drawing all the water. But it's one of the beauties of the modern age to be able to spend half an hour without any digital interaction, without answering the phone, without any interruptions, to be able to sit and steep in hot water, to allow our mind to drift off and to allow our bodies just to rest and relax. So bathing has had a long, illustrious history. There's many healing spa rituals documented using mud, seaweeds, milk, herbs, and flowers to not only cleanse the body, but to also honor and bless the body. So we can create our own personalized bathing rituals using the products today. And the bath soak is a fabulous one you could do. And you can make a large amount, or you can make different blends to suit different moods and different seasons. But the beauty of a bath is that it provides this really amazing sensory environment of temperature, texture, and aroma, which can soothe the mind and comfort the senses, calm the soul, and relax the body on all levels. So with our bath, a lot of people use bath oils. Bath oils are fine to use, but the only thing is they can make the bath quite slippery. They can give you more of an effort cleaning the bath up afterwards, whereas salts, as used in the scrubs, are rich in minerals and vitamins, particularly Epsom salts or Celtic sea salts, or if you can purchase salts from a coastline near where you live or in your country, that they are rich in vitamins and minerals as well. So they're very healing and excellent for the skin, really helping to soothe itch, help relax the muscles, especially combined with the warmth of the water, and they can stimulate microcirculation. And you can create endless combinations to suit your needs. So like with the scrubs and the masks, you can combine the salts with other ingredients. So they can be used on their own, but if you have slightly drier skin, again, if you find hot water is quite drying, you can add powdered milk. So you can alternate it with cow's milk, goat's milk, and also coconut milk powder is very softening and does have that coconutty aroma. So you can add that into your salt as well. You could also add as I mentioned in other recipes, powdered herbs and spices or powdered flowers. You can also add clay, more for the color interest. There won't be enough clay to create like a mud bath, but they add like a hint of color, which is quite pretty and sensory inspiration. You could also add some essential oils for the fragrance. And I know of many people who can also include like grated butter, like grated cocoa butter, shea butter, which melts into the water. So you do get that slightly oily note, but it isn't in the same quantity that you'd add an oil bath. So let's go on to looking at our lovely bath recipe. Again, all these can be increased in volume, but this is a nice one to get you started. It's enough for 1 to 2 full baths, or you can use it as a foot bath. If you don't have a bath at home or you don't use baths, having a foot bath is equally beneficial. It's a lovely way to wind down at the end of a day. You stimulate microcirculation through the feet as well. And it's very releasing, and it's hugely absorbing as well. Our surface area of our soles of our feet are very absorbent, so it's a lovely treat and not too time consuming as well if you want to take a foot bath instead. So I've recommended 200 grams of Epsom salts, or you can mix it with sea salt or Himalayan salt. Get a nice jar. Can be plastic if you find that safer to use in a bathroom, or glass. And we're going to use a comforting blend of essential oils, about 1.5% dilution. So we're looking at maybe 30 drops in total of our essential oils. And I've chosen lavender, cedarwood, and ylang. They're very soothing, balancing, calming. So great if you want a slightly more sedative bath. I've added 15 drops of lavender, 10 drops of cedarwood, and 5 drops of the ylang. And you combine that into the salt, stir it in, seal it in a jar, store it in a cool, dark place, again, as recommended for the other products. Ideally used within 8 months. Use as you wish. If you want to use it every evening, that's fabulous. Just as a safety note, always ensure the water temperature is not too hot. Hot water and large amounts of Epsom salts can raise the blood pressure, so they may be contraindicated in pregnancy and high blood pressure. So do be aware of that for your own personal safety and comfort. And also, if you are using Epsom salts on their own, do stay hydrated before the bath and after your bath, because they can be quite dehydrating, but amazing for muscular aches and pains. Very, very soothing. When I'm using this blend, I also like to visualize a little ritual. So again, as you draw your bath, add your bath soap blend, and as you immerse yourself in the water, inhale the steam, visualize these aromatic molecules traveling through your body, feel the hot water holding you, knowing you are supported, and feel the restorative and clarifying powers of the bath. And once finished, as the water empties, imagine your worries released. And that's a really nice way to use a bath as a lovely ritual to help separate yourself from your working day or from a stressful environment. So do use these with some mindfulness. It really does help. Dry off your body, and we are going to look at the body oil. So we're going to look at applying a body oil after the bath or after your scrub, if you've made the scrub as well. So as mentioned earlier, we covered the benefits of the carrier oils or the vegetable oils. I've chosen these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 oils. I love these carrier oils. They are very accessible. Again, they're easy to purchase. Online suppliers do very good quality. I usually buy organic, cold pressed. And these 5 oils suit the majority of skin types. And they have a very good shelf life, and they blend very easy together as well. So I'll just go through these ones that I've suggested for today's session. Sesame. This is a fabulous oil. It's very nutritive. It glides beautifully on the skin. It's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and it's very warming as well. So it's excellent if you're kind of quite a cold person, or if it's during a season where you've got quite cold, contracted weather, very dry environment. It's really helpful for warming and nourishing the body, and very good for dry skin. Again, all these oils can be used on their own. I would always recommend blending at least 2 of the oils together, and you get a much more complex synergy of nutrients for your skin. Macadamia, again, one of my favorites. This has a slightly, it's highly absorbent, but it leaves like a dry touch on the skin. And yet it's very nourishing, very, very penetrative. And it's very rich in emollient properties, rich in oleic acid. As we age, our body does decline in fatty acids and fatty acids in the body. Hence, your skin gets a little bit drier, skin cell turnover declines. So adding rich nutritive oils to our body care products is really helpful for maintaining supple skin and supporting, the cellular membranes. The macadamia really helps to retain skin moisture, helps regenerate skin layers, and doesn't leave an oily residue. So it's one of my favorite ones to use. Great for legs, applying as a leg oil in the morning without worrying that it's not going to absorb, and you can get dressed quite quickly. Sweet almond is a very classic, very universally used oil, very popular in massage and aromatherapy. Good shelf life. It's probably more suited to slightly oilier skins. It is nourishing, has vitamin E, very economical to use. But if your skin is more on a dry, damaged side, or you've got sunburn or aging skin, I would definitely blend it with one of the richer oils like the macadamia or the sesame. Then we have peach kernel, which is very, very fine, very silky, smooth, penetrating. Excellent for facial oil, so it's a lovely one to use in facial blends. Very helpful for dry, sensitive skins. And last but not least, we have jojoba, which is more of a liquid wax, so it will kind of solidify a little bit or harden in very cold temperatures, a bit like olive oil. You'll get those little droplets of wax that you'll see in the bottle. It's very harmonious for the skin. It's very similar to skin sebum, so excellent for all skin types, particularly oily, congested. It absorbs well, it's very regenerative, restructuring, and it's very protectant. So if you're using this again in various seasons, so if it's very dry or wintry, or even in the summer, it's a beautiful oil to use again on the face. For the face, you can use it neat. If it's on the body, I would always blend it because it's a slightly more expensive oil, and it doesn't. I don't find it glides as easily on drier skin types. So you'll use a lot more of it. So be guided by how it acts on your skin, but excellent shelf life, and always blended if you're using it on the body. A body oil is beautiful to create. You can apply it just to small parts of the body or as a whole body application. And it's a lovely way to bring a blessing to your skin, to honor and thank your body for all it does for you. So I've given a little ritual for you to remind yourself as you're using a body oil to give thanks for what it does for you, that it protects you, it helps you move, it bestows sensory enjoyment, and it helps you express your unique self. So when you're having a bad day and you forget to take time out for yourself, create this beautiful body oil and anoint yourself with it. So this is a slightly more expensive blend compared to the others we've covered in the presentation. This is my Sacred Luxury body oil recipe, and I've created just 60 mils. Again, depending on how often you use it, how much you apply to your skin, you may need to increase the amount, but 60 is enough for 2 to 3 applications of the body. And I've blended the sesame, sweet almond and macadamia. So get a nice bottle or a big beaker, pour in the 20 ml of the sesame oil, 15 ml of the sweet almond, and 25 ml of the macadamia. And this will be a lovely gliding silky body oil, very absorbent and nutritious for the skin. And the essential oils I've added are coriander. I love coriander. It's got that beautiful spicy freshness, but it's a bit fruity. I've added 3 drops of coriander, 4 drops of the Rose Absolute, which gives it like this very sensuous, warm, luxurious note to it. And last but not least, I've added 5 drops of sandalwood. If you don't have the sandalwood, I have suggested you could substitute it for the cedarwood or copaiba, which is a slightly, I love copaiba. It's a kind of a slightly, it has like a musky note, but I think it has a similarity to sandalwood in many ways, but it's probably a little bit more medicinal. But it's a very smooth, beautiful oil. So you could substitute the sandalwood for the cedarwood or the copaiba if you don't have the sandalwood. But I would suggest, if you can get it, please do. It's a beautiful sacred oil to have. Use it mindfully, and it will definitely reward you. So this is a stunning blend to add to your body ritual. And do keep it in a cool, dark place. I would suggest using it within 12 months, because the oils, the carrier oils, the fixed vegetable oils we've used have a very good shelf life. So if you make it fresh, that would easily last you 12 months. Hopefully 60 mils you'd use up within 6 weeks of using, because you'll love it so much. But yeah, that's most body oils I would recommend using up within at least 12 months of making. And we're going to create a facial oil. So the facial oil is similar to the body oil, but I always adjust the essential oils that I use and the vegetable oils that I use on the skin. Partly because your skin is exposed, your facial skin is exposed all day to aggressors, to the environment. It's also the most expressive part of your body, your face. So using essential oils and fatty vegetable oils, which are loaded with vitamins and fatty acids, provide a therapeutic and emotionally supportive treatment for you to nourish your skin. I tend to use a facial oil in the evening, so you can be guided by your own personal choice as to when you want to use it. But these oils are very dual purpose, so you can use it to moisturize, but also you can also use it to cleanse your face. So you can use a single vegetable oil, as I've suggested in other recipes. You can use single, or you can blend them together. Again, I always advise blending the facial oils together, blending the vegetable oils together, and you get a much more personalized recipe to suit your skin type. So yes, when you're creating when you've created your facial oil and you're applying it, it's lovely to use in the evening and use it in like a little facial massage for yourself. So you can apply gentle pinches over the brow bone, but also gentle pressure points around the eye socket or the orbital bone. Really helps to relieve eye strain and tension. Also, the benefit of this blend is you can decant it. So you can put it into a 10 ml roller ball and take that with you to use during the day if you wish, or to use it to relax yourself if you're feeling stressed. And always when you're creating these blends, bring a sense of mindfulness when you're using them. They're really lovely to stop, inhale, bring yourself to the present moment, and continue with blessing what your body does for you, really. So we're going to look at our lovely facial oil. So I've created a calming facial oil recipe, and I've created a 30 ml blend. This should last 6 weeks to 8 weeks, depending on how much you use. But I have included 3 oils here, and these are generally acceptable for most skin types. It will give like a rich, silky feel, but it'll be quite light and penetrating. So I've got 30 ml in total, and I've included jojoba at 15 ml, peach kernel at 10 ml, and sesame oil at 5 ml. And to this, I've added these essential oils, which should not prove any problems to most skin types. I've added sweet orange, which is gently sedative, joyful, optimistic. 4 drops. It gives it a bit of sweetness. 2 drops of lavender, lavandula angustifolia, and the patchouli. And the patchouli is 3 drops, which is very grounding, woody, calmative, and that will be a beautiful blend. Again, you could adjust the volume. So if you wanted to make a larger amount, just adjust the drops accordingly, and you could refer back to the dilution table earlier and work out how many drops of each oil you'd like to include. But yeah, pour all these into a bottle, stir, decant into the bottle, make sure you cap it and label it, and keep for up to 6 to 8 months, and apply to the face, neck and upper chest every evening after cleansing, and always using, loving strokes to your face, neck and chest, and you'll wake up with a softer, brighter outlook on life and a brighter skin as well. So that's the end of our recipes. I have a few resources here. There's a huge amount online, and obviously from the rest of the speakers today, you might glean some other recommendations. In the UK, there's some amazing suppliers such as oshadi.com, and materialaromatica.com, fragrantearth.com. In Europe, you have Florihana and Hermitage Oils. They're France and Italy, respectively. And the USA has a huge amount of amazing supplies of essential oils, and all these suppliers also stock the carrier oils as well, and other base ingredients. So do check out suppliers of your choice. Always look for the botanical powders and salts from health food stores, or for online suppliers. I'm sure you'll be able to find some wonderful ingredients. There's a few books. Again, I have maybe 800 books at home, all on aromatherapy and skincare, so there's far too many to choose from to list here. But if you're very interested in the carrier oils, there's an amazing book called Liquid Sunshine by Jan Kuzmarek, and there's some interesting essential oil and aromatherapy guidebooks, which also may give recipes too. You've got Salvatore Battaglia, Complete Guide to Aromatherapy, Aromatherapeutic Blending by Jennifer P.S. Rind, and The Fragrant Pharmacy by Valerie Ann Warwood is quite an old title now, but is a very useful resource, and has a broad range of advice in there. So I'd really recommend those. And if you would like to find out any more, if you want any more aromatic tips, advice, feel free to contact me. I have my email here, sent@theperfumemistress.com, and you're more than welcome to check out my website, theperfumemistress.com, and contact me, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Or if you would like to attend any of my workshops, they're all currently listed on there. So be well and enjoy. Thank you.